Hello, this is Richard Wilson, and today I want to do a quick book review for James Hughes' book called Family, the Compact Among Generations. James Hughes is one of the top three most well-known authors in the family office space. This book is excellent, relatively thick one, but a relatively easy read. I would say that it's philosophical in a good way. The depth of stories and cultural tie-ins, spiritual references, modern psychology references, scientific and historical research quotations in the book is quite impressive, actually. Just the, forget the actual useful advice that he gives, which is very valuable, but just the depth and breadth of references he has in here is quite interesting. You don't see that in a lot of authors. Usually they're deep on scientific references of referencing white papers, etc., or just on case studies and personal stories. But James Hughes kind of has the full 360 credible way of explaining how families can govern themselves and kind of his philosophies behind some of his previous writings on his thoughts. So a couple of the main points I got from this book that I wanted to make sure and mention was that he talks a lot about a family of affinity and a family that gets along together, and there's actually about 7 or 9 different perspectives on what that means and how you can define affinity and how families can operate together well. And he goes through that in the book, of course. When I was going through my university studies, one of my professors, Jonathan King, had me study systems theory and how almost everything is a system and everything affects everything else. Nothing is really an independent variable typically. And I liked how this was brought up in James Hughes' book. I think it was in chapter 7 or 8. He talks about family theory, family systems theory, and I believe it's absolutely true. And I think that is a worthwhile part of the book to make sure and carefully look at. Obviously, through the book, he emphasizes things that we talk about, such as governance, family governance. We talk about that within our Family Office Club events and in our books as well. And I really think that can't be stressed enough. But importantly, he comes up with, I think it's a checklist of 11 different things to remember and kind of rules to live by while setting up governance. And I love that. That was probably the single most valuable thing I got out of the book. That's just like a concrete takeaway and not just an interesting story or a thing that's important to remember, but just a very concrete value takeaway. For me, it was worth buying and reading the book alone. And I would also say that he talks about Sun Tzu theories on not entering a battlefield that you can't win and obtaining turf that you're going to be so strong in as a family and it plays to your DNA that others won't compete with you directly. And I thought that was a wise insight. Just looking at the energy in your family, the amount of energy that is being produced by the different team members, and thinking through what is realistic and practical to get done as a family within your family office and structuring things around that reality. The final thing I'd mention is that inside the book, he also talks about the importance of setting up the trust and estate to reflect the values of the family and to do so in a way that is respective of the long-term values that you want to instill in the family. And it's a complex topic that he spends several chapters reviewing. So it's something that you get within the first, I think, 4 chapters of the book mostly. And I found that to be just a valuable topic because a lot of the books in the industry don't discuss it in the context that he does, in a qualitative context. They either talk about the legal structure and the legal maneuvers that a family can do, or they gloss over the topic very quickly. So I appreciated James taking more time to go over that topic in the book. So this is Richard Wilson from the Family Office Club and FamilyOffice.com, just doing a quick review on the book, and I loved it, so I'm giving it a 5 stars on Amazon. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.